The large room was filled with creatures from different worlds. Some had scales, some had fur, and some glowed with their own light. They all sat in tall chairs arranged in a circle. This was the Galactic Council, and they were not happy. In the center of the room stood a human. His name was Dae-hyun. He wore a simple gray suit. Around him, the alien leaders laughed and made jokes. They were laughing at him. They were laughing at all humans. The tall alien with 4 eyes stood up. His name was Valkyrie, and he was the leader of the council. He spoke in a loud voice that filled the room. The humans want to explore space, he said. They want to travel to other star systems. They think they are ready to join us. More laughter came from the circle. A bug-like creature made clicking sounds. A rock-like being rumbled deeply. Even the usually polite ones could not hide their amusement. Humans, they seemed to say, those weak little things. Another alien leaned forward. His name was Thraxus, and he was huge. His chair groaned under his weight. He pointed at Dae-hyun with a thick finger. Look at them, he said. Humans still fight each other. They poison their own air. They have barely reached their own moon. Why should we let them out into the galaxy? Dae-hyun stood very still. His face showed nothing. He had trained for many years to control his emotions. He kept his hands behind his back and said nothing as the insults continued. They are so fragile, another voice called out. They live such short lives. Their bodies are weak. Their machines are old and simple. What can they possibly give to the galaxy? What good are they? Maybe we should send them home, Valkyrie said with a mean smile. Let them play with their little rockets for another 1,000 years. Maybe then they will grow up enough to join us. The vote began. One by one, the aliens voted. They all voted the same way. No, humans could not explore deep space. No, humans could not travel beyond their home system. No, no, no. The big screen showed the results. 247 votes against humans. 3 aliens chose not to vote. 0 votes in favor. It was decided. The matter is settled, Valkyrie announced. He sounded very pleased with himself. Humanity must stay in their home system for at least 500 years. Perhaps by then they will be ready. Perhaps by then they will be worthy. I asked for 5 minutes, Dae-hyun said. His voice was calm and clear. It cut through the noise in the room like a knife. The laughter stopped. Everyone looked at him. Valkyrie tilted his head. He seemed amused. 5 minutes, he asked. What for, human? What can you possibly say that will matter now? I want to show you what you are really banning, Dae-hyun said. He pulled out a small crystal from his pocket. It glowed softly in his hand. You have judged us without really knowing us. I only ask that you watch. Then if you still want to ban us, we will accept it. We will go home quietly. Valkyrie looked at the other council members. Some shrugged. Others made dismissive gestures with their various arms and tentacles. They did not think the human could change anything. Very well, Valkyrie said. 5 minutes. Show us what you want to show us. Entertain us with your defense. Dae-hyun walked to the center of the room. He placed the crystal into a machine. The lights in the room dimmed. Images began to appear in the air above them. They floated like ghosts large enough for everyone to see clearly. I will not defend us, Dae-hyun said quietly. His voice was sad but strong. I will simply show you who we are. I will show you what humans really are. The floating images began to move. The room fell silent. The aliens leaned forward in their seats. What they were about to see would change everything. What they were about to learn would shock them all. The show had begun. The floating images showed a desert. Sand stretched as far as anyone could see. The sun burned down from above. At the bottom of the image, numbers showed the temperature. 57 degrees. Hot enough to cook most living things. Yet a human walked across those burning sands. The person was covered in cloth from head to toe. They carried only water and nothing else. The image sped up, showing days passing. The human walked and walked. They did not stop. They did not die. This is the Sahara Desert, Dae-hyun explained. His voice echoed in the quiet room. Humans have lived here for thousands of years. They do not just survive. They build homes. They raise families. They create art. The scene changed. Now it showed ice and snow. The temperature numbers fell. -40 degrees. Humans in thick clothes built shelters from blocks of ice. They hunted animals in storms that would freeze most creatures solid. They lived and thrived in the killing cold. Impossible, whispered one of the aliens. The changes in temperature alone would kill anyone. How can they survive both extreme heat and extreme cold? The images kept coming. Humans diving deep underwater where the pressure would crush most beings. Humans climbing tall mountains where the air was too thin to breathe. Humans living in wet jungles, in dark caves, on active volcanoes. Every environment looked deadly. In every one humans lived. A woman appeared in the floating image. She had sharp eyes and gray hair. "My name is He-Jin," she said. "I am a scientist who studies how different species adapt. What you are seeing is normal for humans. This is not special training. This is not genetic changes. This is just what humans can do." The image split into many smaller images. Each one showed a different horrible place. Burning deserts, frozen wastelands, deep oceans, high mountains, thick jungles. In every single one, humans not only lived but built communities. They made music. They told stories. They were happy. "Our world is what you would call a death planet," He-Jin continued. "Terrible storms, earthquakes, volcanoes, animals that could kill us easily. We had no armor on our bodies. No poison, no claws or sharp teeth. We were slow compared to the things that hunted us. We were weak compared to the things we hunted. We should have died out long ago." Now the image showed something that made all the aliens lean forward. It showed a human body healing itself. A broken bone slowly joining back together. A deep cut closing up and leaving a scar. Burned skin growing back over weeks. "We heal better than 90% of all known species in the galaxy," He-Jin said. "A finger that is cut off can be put back on. Damaged organs can be replaced with new ones. We can lose almost half our blood and still survive. Injuries that would kill most of you are things we can recover from." Thraxus, the huge alien, shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Around the room, the laughter had completely stopped. The aliens who had been relaxing in their chairs now sat up straight. All eyes were fixed on the floating images. The picture changed again. This time it showed the inside of a human body. Tiny soldiers fought against invading germs. The image pulled back to show humans getting sick and then getting better. They survived diseases that would wipe out entire populations of other species. "Inside every human is an army," He-Jin explained. "Billions of tiny defenders. They learn. They adapt. They remember. We have survived plagues that killed half our people and we came back stronger. Our bodies do not just fight disease. They remember it. They get better at fighting it. They pass that knowledge to our children." Belkari's 4 eyes narrowed. His voice had lost some of its confidence. "This is concerning," he said, "but being able to survive does not make a species worthy of joining us. It does not mean you are ready for deep space. There is more," Daehyun said simply. "Much more." The images continued to play. The floating image now showed a human running. The person was not sprinting fast. Instead, they moved at a steady pace. It looked almost relaxing. The timer in the corner started counting. 1 hour, 2 hours, 5 hours. The human kept running. "This is called a marathon," Daehyun said. "It is 42 kilometers of non-stop running. The average human finishes in about 4 hours. The fastest humans can do it in just over 2 hours." The picture changed to show different runners in different places. Some ran through city streets. Others ran across desert plains. Some ran up and down mountains. But all of them had the same steady, never-stopping pace. They just kept going and going. "That is interesting, but hardly impressive," one council member began to say. The image split into 2 parts. On one side was the human runner. On the other side were test results from many different alien species. The numbers showed how long each species could run without stopping. The human times were not just good. They were 3 times better than most aliens. A new person appeared in the image. He wore a military uniform and stood very straight. "My name is Tae-young," he said. "I am a captain in the Human Defense Force. Let me explain something about my species that you need to understand." The scene changed to show ancient humans hunting animals. They followed their prey across grass fields. The timer began to run. Hours became days. The hunters never stopped. They slept for short periods, then continued. They kept following and following. Always moving, always tracking. "We call this persistence hunting," Tae-yang explained. "Our ancestors would chase animals until the animals collapsed from exhaustion. It did not matter if the animal was faster or stronger than us. We just kept coming. Hour after hour, day after day, we followed until the prey could not run anymore. Until it simply gave up." The screen now showed scientific data. Charts and numbers about human hearts and lungs. Information about how humans cool down by sweating. Details about how human legs are built for running long distances, not short sprints. Most species are either very fast for short distances or have moderate endurance, Taeyang said. Humans are one of the best distance runners on our planet, better than horses, better than wolves. Over long distances, we can outrun almost everything. In the galaxy, he paused for effect. We have tested against 47 different species. We ranked first in 43 tests. The images changed rapidly. A human climbing up a cliff face with just their hands and feet. Another human swimming across a huge channel of water. Another riding a bicycle for days without stopping. Races that went on for hundreds of kilometers. Expeditions across ice at the bottom of the world. We do not just endure, Taeyang said. We seek out challenges. We push ourselves further than we need to, just to see if we can. We call them endurance sports. We do them for fun. For recreation, Valkyrie leaned forward. His earlier smugness was gone. Now he looked concerned. This is excessive, he said. Surely this level of physical stress is unhealthy. It must damage your bodies? Actually, it makes us healthier, Taeyang replied. The more we push our bodies, the stronger they become. When muscles tear, they rebuild themselves thicker and stronger. When bones are stressed, they grow denser. Our hearts and lungs expand their capacity. We literally become more capable through hardship. Through struggle. The footage now showed old humans. People who were past their prime years. Some were over 100 years old. Their faces were wrinkled with age. Yet they were still running. Still swimming. Still pushing themselves. They did things that would tire much younger aliens. This must be edited, Valkyrie protested. But his voice was not as strong as before. You are showing us only the best examples. The strongest humans. This cannot be normal. I can provide all the raw data, Daehyun offered. Billions of records. Medical scans. Performance measurements. What you are seeing represents average human ability. These are not our champions or heroes. These are ordinary people, he paused. Let that information sink in. Around the chamber, the aliens were whispering to each other. Their translation devices created a soft buzzing sound of worry. But physical endurance is only one thing, Daehyun continued. Now let me show you what happens when you corner a human. When you threaten what they love. When you make them your enemy. The images changed again. Several council members pulled back from what they saw next. The floating images went dark. When they brightened again, they showed a battlefield. The footage was old. The weapons were simple. Just projectiles and explosives. The communications equipment looked ancient. But what the images showed made the entire council chamber fall completely silent. Humans fighting in conditions that would destroy most species. Standing waist-deep in freezing mud, being bombed from above, the ground exploding around them, running across open ground while weapons fired at them. When they fell, others took their place. Again and again and again, they never stopped coming. An older human appeared. He had gray hair and eyes that looked tired. My name is Kyung-soo, he said. I'm a retired general. I have studied human warfare for 50 years. What you are about to see will disturb you. It disturbs us too. But you need to understand what we are capable of. The footage moved through different time periods. Ancient humans with sharpened sticks facing animals 5 times their size. Medieval armies surrounding cities waiting for years. Defenders inside eating their horses. Eating leather from their shoes but refusing to surrender. Soldiers holding positions long after their supplies ran out. Long after help stopped coming. We have a saying, Kyung-soo said quietly. The last man standing. It is not about being the strongest or the fastest. It is about refusing to fall down. About getting back up one more time than you are knocked down. One more time. Always one more time. The display showed footage that made even the warrior species uncomfortable. Humans fighting in thick jungles where they could barely see. In cities that had been destroyed. Every building ready to collapse. In frozen places where equipment stopped working and only willpower kept them alive. Human psychology has unique features, Kyung-soo continued. We can separate our emotions from our actions. We can function under stress that would freeze most species. We can make cold, clear decisions even when we are terrified. And perhaps most important, we can choose to keep fighting when any logical analysis says we should surrender. When the smart choice is to give up, the image moved to show command centers. Humans planning attacks with primitive technology, inventing new tactics in the middle of battle. Adapting to enemies who had better weapons. Finding ways to win when they should lose. When a human warrior is cornered, something activates in their brain, Kyung-soo explained. A chemical called adrenaline floods their body. They feel less pain. They become 40% stronger. Their reactions become twice as fast. We call it the fight-or-flight response. It means run away or fight back. Except humans, he paused significantly, almost always choose to fight back. Thraxus was gripping his seat tightly now. His huge body was tense. Around the chamber, the aliens who had been bored and mocking were now watching intently. They could not look away. The footage showed night operations. Humans using darkness that would blind most species. Humans attacking underwater, dropping from high in the sky, fighting in places where their own technology barely worked, where success depended only on training, determination, and an absolute refusal to quit. We have another saying, Kyung-soo said, never corner a human, because a cornered human does not give up. They do not surrender. They become twice as dangerous, 3 times as dangerous. They will use anything as a weapon. They will fight with broken bones, with failing organs, with their last breath, not because they are stupid or want to die, but because something in our history taught us that the ones who kept fighting were the ones who survived, who lived to have children. The image showed a field hospital, wounded humans with injuries that should have killed them, being patched up and sent back to fight within days. The survival rates were impressive even by modern galactic standards. These were achieved with equipment the Council would consider ancient. This is psychological warfare, Velkari said. But now his voice shook slightly. You are trying to intimidate us, trying to scare us with your capacity for violence. No, Daehyun replied. I am showing you the reality of what you are trying to ban. We are not showing you this to threaten you. We are showing you because if humans are restricted, if we are locked in our own system, if we are treated as inferior beings, this is what we become. History shows that humans who feel trapped turn on each other. They turn on those who cage them. He let that hang in the air. But there is another side to humanity. Let me show you what we can achieve when given the chance. When we are allowed to be our best selves. The footage changed once more. The display filled with stars, billions of them shining in the darkness. Then the view moved closer to show Earth spinning in space, a blue ball against the black void. The image pulled back to show primitive spacecraft. They were little more than controlled explosions with humans strapped to the top. A young woman appeared. Her eyes were bright with excitement. My name is Jiwoo, she said. I'm an engineer and head of the Human Space Agency History Division. What you're about to see is our journey to the stars. It was not easy. It was not pretty. But it was ours. We did it ourselves. The footage showed early rocket tests, explosions on launch pads, ships breaking apart in midair, catastrophic failures. The numbers at the bottom tracked each attempt. Failure, 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 partial success, failure, more failures than successes. Each failure taught us something, Jiwoo explained. We did not have help from more advanced species. Nobody gave us gravity technology. Nobody showed us the way. We had chemistry, physics, and mathematics, and we had determination. We had the refusal to give up. The scene shifted. A successful launch. A man named Yuri Gagarin spinning around Earth in a tiny capsule. He became the first of his species to leave the planet. The date appeared, 1961. Less than 60 years after humans learned to fly, Jiwoo said softly. From first powered flight to orbital flight in barely half a century. Most species take 5 centuries to do this. Then the moon landing appeared. Humans in bulky suits bouncing across a dead world. No air, wild temperature changes. Deadly radiation. They planted a flag and left footprints that would last millions of years. The date showed. 1969. 8 years from first orbit to landing on another world, Jiwoo continued. Not an easy world. A place with no air, temperatures that swing hundreds of degrees, and enough radiation to kill an unprotected human in hours. We went anyway. We went because it was there. The footage sped up. Space stations being built piece by piece in orbit. Rovers on Mars sending back pictures of red deserts. Probes flying past Jupiter and Saturn, reaching the edge of the solar system. Telescopes looking back to the beginning of the universe itself. Thraxus leaned forward sharply. This timeline is impossible, he said. Most species take 3,000 years to go from chemical rockets to exploring their whole system. You did it in less than 1 century? 90 years from first orbit to faster-than-light capability, Jiwoo confirmed. Not because we are smarter than other species. Not because we had better resources. Our planet is actually quite poor in rare metals. But because when we decide something must be done, we become obsessive. We cannot think about anything else. We cannot rest. The display showed mission control centers. Hundreds of humans working day and night, solving problems in real time, celebrating successes, learning from failures. The passion and focus were visible even through old footage. When we sent probes beyond our solar system, Jiwoo said, we attached a golden record to them. It had music, images, greetings in 55 languages. Not because we thought anyone would find it, but because we wanted to say something. We were here. We existed. We reached out into the darkness. That is humanity in one action. The footage shifted to show current human technology. Ships that could travel faster than light. Colony ships being prepared for journeys lasting generations. Plans to change other planets to be like Earth. Monitoring stations deep in space, far from any sun. You call us primitive, Jiwoo said. By galactic standards, maybe we are. But we have been a spacefaring species for less than 2 centuries. What will we be in 1,000 years? 10,000 years? What happens when you combine our adaptability, our endurance, and our refusal to quit with a few more millennia of development? The chamber was completely silent. Even Velkari, who had opened the session with such contempt and mockery, was staring at the display. His expression might have been awe. It might have been fear. Perhaps both. You want to know our secret? Jiwoo asked. It is simple. We are curious. Pathologically, dangerously curious. We see a horizon and must know what is beyond it. We find a question and cannot rest until we have an answer. You look at the vastness of space and see danger, distance, impossibility. We look at it and see possibility. We see potential, Velkari spoke. His voice was barely above a whisper. What is it you want from us, Ambassador? What is the point of all this? Daehyun's expression softened. I want to show you one more thing. The real reason we should be partners rather than a species you fear or dismiss. The reason we belong among you. The footage changed one final time. The floating images changed to show different footage. This was not historical. The timestamp showed it was recent, only 3 months old. The image showed a damaged spacecraft drifting near a dangerous moon. Its hull was covered in impact marks. Debris floated all around it. Several council members sat forward suddenly. Thraxis made a sound of recognition. That is the council survey ship Harmony, Velkari said slowly. They were exploring a system when they encountered unexpected problems. Gravitational anomalies. He stopped talking and stared at Daehyun. How do you have this footage? Because we were there, Daehyun said simply. The footage showed another ship approaching. A human vessel. Its name was visible on the side. Dauntless. It was moving through the dangerous debris field. Not running away. Moving toward the crippled council ship. A woman's voice came from the recording. Council Vessel Harmony. This is Captain Soon-hee of the Earthship Dauntless. We are reading critical damage to your systems. Dangerous gravitational stress on your hull. We are coming to help you. The council representative from Harmony responded. His name was Cross. His voice was tight with pain and barely controlled panic. Human vessel. This area is extremely hazardous. The gravitational problems are getting worse. You should leave the system immediately. Noted and disregarded, Captain Soon-hee replied calmly. We are getting you out of there. Please stand by. The footage showed what happened next in real time. The Dauntless moving through the same gravitational chaos that had destroyed Harmony. The human ship's hull groaned under stress that would tear most vessels apart. Alarms screamed constantly. Warning lights flashed everywhere, but the humans did not turn back. They matched speed with the broken council ship. They extended magnetic hooks. They began the delicate, dangerous work of moving the Harmony crew through emergency doors between the ships. Inside the Dauntless, the footage showed the medical area. A young woman in medical clothes moved between the injured council members. She worked quickly and efficiently. The display showed her name. Medical Officer Minji. I have never treated a Thorian before, Minji was saying. Her hands were steady, even though the ship shook violently around her. But I have studied your biology. Silicon-based, right? Okay. We can work with that. Talk to me, sir. Tell me where it hurts. The Thorian crew member was delirious with pain, but he managed to give information. Minji adapted. She used human medical equipment on alien biology. She stabilized injuries that would have been fatal without immediate treatment. On the bridge, Captain Soon-hee was coordinating everything with calm precision. Engineering, I need all power to structural integrity. Navigation, plot us a course out of this gravity well the moment we have everyone aboard. Helm, be ready to burn engines at maximum thrust. We will exceed our design limits, but the alternative is becoming part of this debris field. The rescue took 3 hours. 3 hours of the Dauntless holding position in conditions that should have destroyed it. 3 hours of human crew members risking death to transfer council personnel to safety. 3 hours of Minji working miracles with equipment never designed for alien bodies. Finally, the last council member was safely aboard. All personnel accounted for, the human officer reported. Harmony is empty. Get us out of here, Soon-hee ordered. The Dauntless engines roared to life. The ship fought its way out of the gravity well. Hull integrity dropped to dangerous levels, but it never failed. When they finally reached clear space, the human crew did not celebrate. They were already helping the council members, making sure everyone was comfortable, sharing their own food and quarters. The footage ended. Dae-hyun let the silence stretch for a long moment before speaking. The Harmony crew filed a report with the council. Dae-hyun said quietly, "You have that report. It recommended that humans be given full partnership status. It noted our courage, our innovation, and our compassion. It stated, and I am quoting directly, these beings represent the best of what intelligent life can achieve." He looked directly at Velkari. That report was filed 11 days before this session. You had it. You read it. And still you called this vote to ban us from the stars. Velkari could not meet his gaze. Around the chamber, delegates shifted uncomfortably, whispered to each other. We showed you our adaptability, Dae-hyun continued. Our endurance. Our capacity for violence when necessary. Our technological progress. But I wanted you to see this. Because this is the truth of humanity. Yes, we can survive anywhere. Yes, we can fight. Yes, we innovate rapidly. But what defines us is that we choose to help, even when it costs us, even when it is dangerous, even when it would be easier to leave. He paused. You can ban us if you want, but know this. We will still be here, and the next time one of your ships is in trouble, we will come. Because that is what we do. The chamber was silent. For a long moment, nobody spoke. The Galactic Council chamber had been filled with laughter and mockery 30 minutes ago. Now it was silent except for the hum of machines and the whisper of translation devices. Ambassador Dae-hyun stood at the center of it all. His data crystal still glowed softly. He did not speak. He did not need to. The footage had said everything. High Chancellor Velkari was the first to break the silence. He rose slowly from his seat. His 4 eyes were fixed on the human. When he spoke, his voice had lost all its earlier mockery. Ambassador Dae-hyun, he began. Then he paused. He seemed to struggle for words. We have made a terrible error in judgment. Around the chamber, other delegates were talking urgently with each other. Thraxus was speaking rapidly with his group. Cross, the council member whose ship had been rescued, had tears streaming down his face. We looked at your species and saw weakness. Velkari continued. Short lives, fragile bodies, old technology. We failed to see what was underneath. We failed to understand that the strongest metal is made in the hottest fire. Cross stood up. His voice resonated through the chamber. I was on the Harmony. I felt my ship dying around me. I accepted that I would die in that debris field. And then the humans came. He paused. Emotion made his body shimmer strangely in the light. They risked their lives for us, for people who had shown them nothing but contempt. They asked for nothing in return. They simply helped. Dae-hyun bowed his head slightly. Captain Soon-hee would say she was just doing her job. That is exactly the point, another voice called out. It was Thraxus. To humans, risking everything to save strangers is just their job. Do you understand how remarkable that is? How rare, Velkari straightened. His posture was now respectful. Ambassador, on behalf of the Galactic Council, I offer our formal apology. We judged you without truly seeing you. We feared your potential without appreciating your character. He turned to address everyone. I call for an immediate vote to cancel the ban on human deep space exploration. Furthermore, I propose that we offer full council membership to the human species. With all rights and privileges of founding members, the chamber erupted in discussion. Translators struggled to keep up with dozens of species all speaking at once. But as the noise died down, delegates began to raise their voting crystals. One by one, the lights on the big display changed from red to green. The final count appeared. 243 votes in favor. 7 chose not to vote. 0 against. Valkyrie's voice rang out formally. The Council has spoken. Humanity is hereby granted full membership in the Galactic Council. Effective immediately. All restrictions are lifted. All territories are open to human exploration and settlement. Subject to standard Council rules. He turned back to Daehyun. Ambassador, on behalf of the Council, I welcome humanity to the galactic community. We have much to learn from each other, though I suspect we have more to learn from you than you from us. Daehyun smiled warmly. Thank you, High Chancellor. We accept your offer with gratitude and humility. We come not as conquerors or competitors. We come as partners and friends. We have much to learn from all of you. Your wisdom, your experience, your different ways of seeing the universe. He took his data crystal from the machine. I should mention that everything I showed you today is publicly available information. The survival footage, the endurance data, the military history, the space program, the Harmony rescue. I did not reveal any secrets. I simply showed you what we have always been. Thraxis made a sound that might have been a laugh. That might be the most frightening thing you have said all day, Ambassador, that this is just the baseline. Just normal humans. We prefer to think of it as potential, Daehyun replied. Imagine what we might achieve together. Your species have explored the galaxy for thousands of years. You have knowledge and technology we can barely imagine, and we bring fresh perspectives, new approaches, and yes, he smiled slightly, persistence. Valkyrie extended his hand in the gesture of friendship. I think, Ambassador, that this is the beginning of something extraordinary. The galaxy is about to become a much more interesting place. Daehyun grasped the offered hand carefully. We are looking forward to it, High Chancellor. To the stars, together. To the stars, Valkyrie echoed. Throughout the chamber, delegates of 100 species repeated the phrase. Each in their own language. Each with their own unique voice. The translation devices worked overtime to keep up. The vote that had begun in mockery ended in unity. 1 year later, a joint research station orbited a young star. It was a team effort. Human engineering combined with alien energy systems and structural design, a symbol of what could be achieved together. Daehyun and Valkyrie floated in the observation deck. They watched the star paint the station in brilliant gold light. Your engineer Jiwoo tells me we are ahead of schedule, Valkyrie said. She says human work crews do not understand the concept of rest periods. Daehyun chuckled. I will speak to them. Though I should mention our Thorian partners have been matching them hour for hour. Persistence is contagious. Valkyrie was quiet for a moment. Do you know how many joint missions have been proposed in the last year? 417. We have mapped more of the galaxy in 1 year than in the previous century. Daehyun turned to face him. It works both ways. Human scientists are learning from species who studied the universe before we discovered fire. Our medical technology has advanced centuries in just months. They watched the star for a while in comfortable silence. Finally, Valkyrie spoke. That day in the council chamber, did you know how we would react? Daehyun considered the question. I knew you would understand eventually. I just needed to show you that humans possess the same qualities you value, that we are not so different. But you are different, Valkyrie said. Not inferior or superior. Different. This partnership works because we complement each other. Daehyun watched a human transport docking. Through the window he could see humans and aliens working together. Do you know what the galaxy calls us now? The relentless ones, Valkyrie said with amusement. They mean it as a compliment, Daehyun smiled. When we first encountered the council, we were terrified. We thought we would be the weakest. We thought we had to prove ourselves worthy, and you learned that being worthy is not about being the best at everything, Valkyrie said. It is about contributing what you can, being there when others need you. Beyond the window, the station glittered like stars. In the labs, impossible problems were being solved. In the command center, joint crews plotted courses to unexplored space. The galaxy had mocked humanity. Now it could not imagine exploring without them. The journey had only just begun.